Great. Can you hear me now? Fucking hell. Okay. Ridiculous. This is what happens when you have to do a complete reset of your PC. Hold on a second. Good. Right. We are back once again to review Doctor Who, Doctor Woke, Doctor Joke. And after last week, well, we had a relatively competent episode, but, you know, the longer that time passes, the more it seems there's actually millions and millions of problems with that episode as well. So, I haven't been quite so nice in hindsight to it, but it was still the best of the current day run. This episode, on the other hand, episode 4 of series 215/41, is Lucky Day. And, well, it wasn't a very lucky day for me. I'm sure that someone else will make that joke if they haven't already. What an episode to follow up with. We were all speculating, you know, well, next week it'll be back to bullshit. Next week it'll be back to terrible. We don't necessarily want to continue watching this, but of course I said I would. And yeah, it's as bad as we thought. In fact, it's worse. It's absolute bollocks. Frankly, absolute bollocks is the term I keep coming back to. And that is one of the things that we are principally involved in fighting here at Will of the Fans. There is so much bad faith in the writing of this episode, written by Pete McTeague, by the way, who wrote Kerblam in the 13th Doctor's run. But this is bad faith shit, right? This is RTD attacking us again. Well, he's not strictly speaking attacking the fans. There's no like hashtag RIP Doctor Who moment in this one. But we do have a massive, massive attack on conspiracy theorists. Thank you to MagesGuild, member for 5 months now at Rage Beta level, and thank you for that. Says, can't miss this. The episode may be more cross than all else in years. My review is forthcoming, but fuck. RTD hates citizen journalists. F off. Yeah, so, that's an interesting part of it, right? So, effectively, that's what the villain is. But, there's extremely muddy messaging in this, as in, clearly he wants you to receive the bad guy as a right-wing conspiracy theorist, but the behavior of him and his followers is much more, in terms of what they actually do, much more like crazed left-wing environmental activists who throw, like, orange paint on works of art and stuff like that, glue themselves to the roads. That's the kind of cringe that we're dealing with. In fact, the whole episode is ruined by that. Then it's difficult to explain. Effectively, the first act is a totally cringe rom-com. Then Act 2 transforms suddenly on a dime into an obnoxious mischaracterization and attack of right-wing, supposedly right-wing anyway, podcasters and citizen journalists, as MagesGuild correctly pointed out. Act 3 is like, is anybody a good guy in this episode? And then in the epilogue we get a preachy spiel from Gatwa, who otherwise, well, you know what? Let's roll the intro and I'll get to the good, the bad, and the unforgivable. Okay, we're going to go through the plot in a moment, but before we do that, I'll go full screen again. Let's just summarize. Okay, so there's a lot of muddied messaging, a lot of attacking of anyone who has mistrust for the powers that be, anyone who has ever considered that perhaps the government have lied to us before, anything like that. And I actually think I need to update this goal because it's actually... No, it's still good. It's still good. Still got time on it, apparently. Anyway, yeah. So They're going to attack anybody who's ever criticized the government, ever criticized shady practices and mischaracterizations and you know, the whole misinformation thing. Thank you. Proving there that it has worked. MagesGuild for $5 says it isn't conspiracy theories. He hates that the new YouTube press are crushing the corporate press by exposing their lies. Citizen journalists have exposed the lies. Yeah, he's absolutely right. You're absolutely right, MagesGuild. That is what it is. Yeah. Citizen journalists. Because they're portrayed as scum of the earth in this. And to be fair, the guy is scum of the earth. Because he's portrayed that way. It actually almost made me miss the Doctor. As bad as he is, I kind of almost wanted him to show up at some point and just slap this guy down. Which brings me to the first part of the review, which would be the good. Well, first things first then. Ncuti Gatwa is not in it, apart from one scene at the very beginning and one scene at the very end. Of course, when he is in it, he's awful. But it's kept to a minimum, so that's nice. I guess the production is competent. You know, the some of the special effects, some of the costumes are a bit wanky, but I think they're meant to be. You'll understand soon. And Millie Gibson is solid in this, as always. She turns in a performance that's comparable to any of her other performances, something like 73 yards. I guess they trust her to carry a Gatwa-less episode because she did before. Actually, that's one thing I can reveal now. He did not actually cry in this episode. And the reason he... Thank you again, MagesGuild. And the reason he didn't cry in this episode is because he's not in it long enough to cry. And in one scene, he's having a great time. And in the other scene, he's very, very angry. But it really just comes across as impotent rage at us again. MagesGuild says, just thinking about this episode makes me red in the face cross. Reviewing it would be difficult because every second of it was a combo of cringe and hate. I can absolutely see how you'd feel that way, being as you are a journalist, MagesGuild. So, yeah, that would be extremely irritating. It's very annoying for me too. I was insulted the entire way through. It is literally just RTD having to go at YouTubers and content creators who question everything, which is literally what I do. So, yeah, I'm pissed off as well. I guess I've just had enough time away from it now, like almost an entire day since I watched it, to like digest it, calm myself down, and not scream into the microphone, which is probably what I would have done if I'd just gone live after it ended, but I couldn't. Computer was broken. So that's pretty much the good then. Millie's okay. She's pretty good. She's a decent little actress. And of course, it doesn't hurt that the twins are back as well. Although you don't get to see shit. She continues to dress like a librarian even when she's going on dates, which is weird. Then there's the production, which is pretty solid. Two more from MagesGuild. Thank you. Says I would have taken had Gatwa than the douche kid. Yeah, I would have preferred to see Gatwa than this portrayal. We'll get to it. So, there we go. That's more or less all I can say is good about the episode. It's mostly Millie Gibson. She's okay. Bad, then, is real simple. Kate Stewart. This character is done. She sucks. She's boring. She's looking old now. She's flat. She's monotone. I don't know if she's even a good guy or a bad guy at this point. You're supposed to sort of wonder about that, a bit like Torchwood, I suppose. What else is bad? The first act. The first act is nauseating. The first act made my eyes roll so many times I thought I was going to die of cringe. Of course, thankfully it is subverted by the second act, but then the second act is, well, it's part of the unforgivable, really. Then I guess, you know, this is the thing I wasn't sure where to put this, and I ultimately opted for bad, is that there is literally no Belinda Chandra in this episode whatsoever. Zero. Zip. And before you start questioning why I'm saying that's a bad thing, it's principally because she is new, hasn't yet really been fully established, hasn't had much to do. MagesGuild for $2 says I watched yesterday, still cross covering it. Yeah, I know. I'm still pissed too. I'm also very aware that this is what we do, and this is how the experience is for me every week. So it's terrible, fucking appalling. I'll probably get angrier and angrier as we go through it. But yeah, the absence of Belinda Chandra is not a good thing, because as much as she was a fucking annoying Mary Sue girl boss in her first episode, and then barely had anything to do in the second, and then actually began to get a little bit of characterization as an assistant, as a companion in the third episode, ripping her out of the show entirely now is not conducive to getting people on side with her. And I was just starting to kind of accept her as a companion, and suddenly she's completely absent. It's almost as if they didn't trust her to run a GATWILLOUS episode, but they did trust Millie Gibson. So take from that whatever you want, and there you go. So that basically brings me to, well, no, one more thing. Unit are incompetent in this episode. They are absolutely useless. I mean, one man is able to subvert them and infiltrate them, and they're supposed to be the Unified Intelligence Task Force. I don't think so, buddy. And to be fair, with the staff they've got and the leadership they've got in this episode, it's not really hard to see why. And they just absolutely suck. Now, I miss, as cringe as she was, I miss Osgood with her stupid meta-textual costume choices, bow ties and long fucking scarves and things like that. But she was a better character, portrayed better by a better actress. But there you go. That's what we're dealing with now. Anyway, I'm sure, I can't think what her name is. The actress who plays Kate does her best with what she's given, but what she's given is sketchy as fuck. Really bizarre. And there's also an implication that she's having an affair with that Middle Eastern guard dude that was in the last series as well. So, no idea. Anyway, that brings me to the unforgivable then. And that means we're going through the entire episode. Because we will. Because we have to. Pretty much no choice. Let me... I'll get rid of that for a bit. Because it's actually easier if I can do that. So we begin then. Once again, here we go. We've got New Year's Eve 2007. Or 6 to 7, I suppose. So we're in the David Tennant era again. Just like we were at the beginning of episode 1. So there is an active doctor around at this time. So from 6 to 7, then we've just had the Rachnos like a week earlier. That's just happened. And I want you to internalize this in your minds. Okay? We have just had... So Saxon is PM... Or he's about to be PM. We've got... Yeah, that's 2007, right? 1, 2, 3... Yeah, 7, right. So in the year that's beginning right now... Thank you, MagesGuild. Every person in this episode is a moron. Belinda isn't here because this is set before... Yes, I know. I know, it's set all over the place, actually. It's Re-Tar dead as F, and yes, she is dating that soldier. Indeed. So, but here's the thing, and you need to remember this because this pissed me off more than almost anything else in this episode. The entire plot is hinging on the idea that this is a world where the existence of aliens and other extraterrestrial or paranormal threats has not been established to the wider public, which of course is bullshit. RTD is responsible for a vast number of things that happened in full display of the public that would leave no doubt in anyone's mind as to the existence of aliens in Doctor Who. Everyone in the world would have seen a spaceship crash into Big Ben, for example, as well as many, many other things that have happened since. Of course, we all had, I mean, just off the top of my head, I'm thinking you've got the Sycorax invasion, Torchwood and the giant space laser, the Cybermen invading, people like marching into people's homes, the president getting assassinated by the master before the year that never was resets. There's, you know, even as Baranjor, who is a frequent visitor to WoTF Cares, pointed out to me as well, Osgood in a previous episode is well aware that of who John Sims' master is, and so he has to be in disguise because he feels that anyone might recognize him as Harold Saxon. So he's definitely still public knowledge. Then there's, of course, things like Archangel, Atmos. There have been numerous times that the planet has been fucked with. The Earth moved to a different part of space. There was a fucking Battle of Canary Wharf where Cybermen and Daleks were massively sucked into Canary Wharf, never to be seen again. From the public's perception. Then you've got, of course, the Rachnos just a week before this episode's beginning is set. Multiple things. Everything that happened in Torchwood. The Flux, the Toymaker, Sutek dusting the world. And this is interesting because we discussed this. The Sutek dusting of the universe was not undone. People were just brought back to life. So they would still remember being dusted by Sutek. So in the present day portion of this episode, everyone would be well aware that the Earth was destroyed and brought back. But RTD seems to have forgotten his own lore. MagesGuild for another 5, thank you. Says, well, it's a mockery of the UAP stuff in the US Congress. It's literally mocking the alien UFO shite distractions in the US. That's the other point. Oh yeah, I know. Anyway, we're going to go through the episode. So we're in 2007, January 1st, presumably, just after midnight. The clock has struck, so Big Ben is ringing, the fireworks are flying, and meanwhile, down some random little alley, as the TARDIS materializes, and out pops Gatwa. Oh, there's Belinda, yeah, so she's in this for one little tiny scene, that's right. And then she buggers off, but not before they encounter this little boy. This little boy who apparently witnessed them materializing in this alleyway, sees the TARDIS, sees the Doctor, interacts with them. The Doctor's cheering because he found 50p on the ground. Literally, like, yes! 50p! Okay, why would you care? You don't care about money. You don't usually need money. In any case, whatever. So here we are, and the Doctor has found this 50p, and this little kid has spotted them, and he decides to try and sort of fob off this kid by offering him the 50p, and he tells him, today is your lucky day. That's right, today, I can't find the clue. He holds it out like, ta-da, for him, and he says, today is your lucky day. You're going to get given 50p, and you're not going to tell anybody what you saw. The kid then runs back off to his mother, who apparently is some selfish as fuck lush who, I mean, of course, everybody's drinking on New Year's, so that's fine. But he comes back and tells her, I just saw this box appear. I just saw this man come out of it. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. And then she clunks him round the head and tells him to stop telling lies and tells him, you're ruining my night. That's some bad parenting right there. Bad parenting. Even if you were punishing the kid because you believe he was telling lies and you feel like you're justified in that, all right, I guess. But then you don't turn around and tell him that the real reason you're punishing him is for spoiling your fun. That's just shithead behavior for a parent. Never do that. Never make your kid feel like a burden on you. That's fucking disgraceful. Anyway, whatever. So the kid buggers off. He's very sad. He's not happy at all. Got a chip on his shoulder, presumably for the rest of his life, because here he is now, present day, something like 23 or so years old or whatever he is. And he is podcasting about aliens and extraterrestrials and such. And he's talking about the Doctor and, whoops, I've fucking stupid Disney Plus. It turns out that his guest on this episode of the podcast is Ruby Sunday, who's going to prove everything that he has speculated about. And at that point, I was literally slapping my head like, Ruby, did the Doctor not ever tell you, like, you can't talk to people about this stuff? It would break their brains, you know? Or they just wouldn't believe you. They'd have you committed, whatever. Regardless, we move on then. Yeah, as if RTD knows anything about being a parent. Exactly, you're right. So we proceed, and now we have the guy, this young man, who mysteriously spots the TARDIS again. Kind of can't believe it. He's looking around, doesn't quite know. Oh no, wait, this was last year. This is 2024, this part. And his name is Conrad, which is a weird name for a kid in England to have in the 2000s. Seems weird. Seems almost like it's meant to be Comrade, but no, his name is Conrad. Conrad Clark. Which apparently does not have an E at the end. And we know that because it's a line in the episode for some reason. Whatever, anyway. He investigates nearby this area where he hears noises, and he discovers that there's some kind of weird shenanigans going on. I think at some point he gets hurt. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to capture it or find the right frame. Yeah, there it is. Something rushes past him and covers him in this green goo. And he's like, oh, ow, what the hell was that? Anyway, I don't know. Apparently, I don't know if she works for UNIT or if she is just trying to go it alone. I don't think she works specifically for UNIT. I never got the implication that she works directly for UNIT. More that she is chasing up her personal life and is in touch with UNIT. But then, I don't know. It's not established. So, good question. Bad writing. So he's got covered in this goopy shit, and he continues. He sees this weird creature with glowing red eyes. Kind of looks like the Hellhounds from Ghostbusters. You know, the minions of not Zool. What's his fucking name? I can't think. Suddenly can't think who it is. But anyway, Gozer, that's it. Yeah. And they kind of look like that. And then he sees at the top of this shop, this closed down shop, this thing is up there. And it's staring down at him with these menacing red eyes. And he hides, but it looks like it's going to come for him. And suddenly it gets, like, taken out, tased or something, by the Doctor and Millie, who wander down the stairs. And she's got the green goo on her as well. Thank you, MagesGuild. Yes, it was Gozer. Doc gives her this weird stuff to drink, antidote, says it's going to knock her out for, like, 8 hours or so she'll get a good night's sleep, and when she wakes up she will be free of whatever this green stuff does to her, which we will find out shortly. Anyway, he witnesses all this, and he kind of sort of pursues them. Obviously he's drawn to this because he's become kind of obsessed with the Doctor, so to bump into these people and witness this, he takes a quick photo of them, and Ruby notices, and then have you seen this woman? He starts asking on the internet, blah, blah, blah. She approaches him, having seen the post on Instagram or whatever, and that's how they've ended up working together on this podcast. So, where are we now? What part is this? Oh, there's this guy. He's going to work at UNIT. Just showed you that for fucking no reason. Yeah, Vince Clortho and Zool, that's right. Anyway, so she's doing the podcast, and he's all very nice and charming, but a little bit Hugh Grantish in his kind of easily befuddled, kind of, you know, foppish, typical wishy-washy wanker that people write into rom-coms these days when they're trying to summon a Brit. It's just this dork, basically, who doesn't really have much charm or anything about him. But he I suppose he's a little bit smooth, you know. He's charming in a kind of a wishy-washy way. And she starts explaining to him little bits and bobs here and there, but she can't really go into anything because she doesn't want to expose, you know, secrets that would blow the lid off everything. And at this point is when I began wondering, what the shit is going on with this universe? The world has seen aliens. The world has seen Cybermen. The world has seen Daleks. Most recently when they marched out of St. Paul's. I'm sorry, the Cybermen, that was. For the second time. So there we go. So she's there, being all covered up as usual, dressed like a librarian. And doing this podcast. and she can't tell him anything. So I guess they kind of give up. They have a chat, but whatever. We move on past that. And he wraps it up and he says, oh, okay, great. And presumably he's quite professional with this because he's got an office, but he doesn't live in London. He lives in some village somewhere. So he starts sort of offering her a cup of coffee or something. Oh, maybe I can get you a cup of coffee and we can talk about it off the record or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Can't remember exactly what the fucking dialogue was. Let me add the subtitles here so I can get you see what I mean about this? Oh, stammers now. Oh, I mean stammers off. And they're both super duper awkward and cringe. It is nauseating. The idea that Ruby Sunday doesn't realize that she's really hot. And like, this guy doesn't have any game at all. This man is no Rizzler. All right. Anyway, to borrow some brain rot from Gen Alpha. So anyway, it goes exactly how you expect it will, right? I mean, I was literally predicting this scene beat for beat. Suddenly, oh no, he moved too close and they dropped, all his files and things were dropped. Oh no. And then there's this moment where as they're picking them up, they sort of meet eyes and linger for a second. So then she's in this cafe with him looking at that picture of the fucking dog things. She tells it, oh, it's called a shriek, by the way, the monster. Very original, very creative. Very creative indeed. But anyway, so she's telling him about this creature, the shriek, and how they live in a pocket dimension. And one of them somehow got to Earth. And then there's another one apparently came back to the same location 1 year later. So we're still in 2024 now, aren't we? I think for like late 2024. It's before the current series. Pretty much this entire episode happens before the current series. So anyway, she explains to him that when he got marked with the green goo and crap like that, he was basically made the target. And that thing would then proceed to hunt him down. And as she describes what happens, the scene changes to display to the audience what happens when this thing is hunting you. And it's really, really annoying. It just pissed me off because I thought, well, is it happening right now? Are we, like, they're breaking the fourth wall with the scenery. So anyway, it turns out basically what happens is this thing emits background radiation that will turn off all the lights, or dim them at least. They'll be flickering. Then it appears, lets you see it just to terrify you because apparently it likes the taste of people who are frightened out of their minds. Then it comes in and tears you to shreds, basically. And that is all played for, like, you know, to scare the audience, and then suddenly it sort of goes, and we're back to everything being normal in the scene. How was that supposed to scare me? I know it's not really happening right now. So what are you talking about? Anyway. So they continue talking. He says he's got to buy her dinner now. You've definitely got to buy her dinner. She gives him the antidote. And he says he's definitely not going to... he's definitely going to take it. He's definitely going to have to sleep. And then, but you must let me take you to dinner. So then he talks about how he met the doctor once. And that's what got him into strange tech and UFOs. And that's why he's got a podcast. He's got the 50p round his neck. He says he gave it to him. That's why he says, I guess that wasn't my lucky day. I think it's today. Mate, you are ridiculous. You are so lame. That's the worst line I've ever heard. Predicting lower than 1.5 mil? Well, I hope so, because I hope people didn't fucking see this trash. 1 second. Much better. Okay, so we are going ahead. She's got a date. Her mum's all happy. She's like, let me take a picture of you before you go out on your date. And I was like, woman, you are going out on a dinner date with a gentleman. Why are you dressed like this? Why are you dressed like you're going to an office job? Like, what is it with... Why? Why are you so afraid of this woman's boobs, RTD? She can show a little cleavage. Apparently it wasn't a problem in fucking Empire of Death. So what is wrong with this woman who in real life dresses like a little stripper? You know, like you might have at least kept some viewers if she was showing some skin, but nah. Dressed up like a fucking school teacher the entire time. Anyway, then they've got, you know, old Jamaican woman. Yay, I'm so glad she's back. And she's stalking the guy on Instagram. They talk about how his name is Clark but doesn't have an E. Like that makes any fucking difference. See? I don't know why. They're looking at pictures of him with his shirt off. La-da-da. Whatever, anyway. So they're at dinner. He's being all charming again. Oh, they're more and more dates. His mum apparently died of liver cancer, which suggests that she was, in fact, a big drinker. So that sucks. And, you know, if I was in any way feeling this episode, I might have felt some sympathy for the guy because my mother passed away from something quite similar, or complications arising from that. But no, I just don't like this guy. He's boring. He's boring to look at. He's just this generic guy. And she's like, oh no, you're actually lovely, blah, 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 blah. It's all so awkward and annoying. She's like, was he your boyfriend? Oh no, she told, oh, that was it. He asks if the doctor was her boyfriend because she traveled with him. And she's like, no, I think actually he'd be flirting with you. He's like, I don't think I'd notice. I'm such an unassuming, nice young man. Anyway, whatever. Time passes. They continue to see each other. They have their first kiss, wherever that fucking is. If you want to see it, you don't have to see it. It's just a kiss. You've seen a million kisses. They're talking about it. Her mum's there now, although she's apparently not there all the time. So they're all sitting around there. They're talking about the boy. They're just being happy for her, having a boyfriend. And the fact that since she's been seeing him, she hasn't mentioned the doctor. They continue on, and she refers to it as a relationship. And then he gets all like, oh, does that mean I'm your boyfriend then? I'm very happy. Yay. He says, we're going to miss happy hour at my old village where I live. Oh, I'm going to take you home and meet my friends. Oh, he goes, I'm your boyfriend. Ha ha ha, I'm your boyfriend. He keeps saying it. It's like, what are you, fucking 17, buddy? Jesus Christ. Get some confidence. Of course, the thing is, absolutely everything I've complained about in this first act is going to be subverted in the next few minutes. So, whatever. Anyway, we're in the local boozer because there's bugger all else to do in these places. He's got his mate here. His name's Sparky, and he's an electrician. Well, wow. There's some imagination, Pete McTeague. Thank you very much. These are all his mates. They're all sitting around drinking, getting fairly laggard. They tell Millie it's her round, so she goes up to get it. They're all talking addition. The lights start to go out for some reason, and she looks a bit worried. I can't find a shot of it because it's flickering on the screen. There's a bit there. It happened at the bus stop too, so she's noticed the lights are starting to go out. She says she's got to make a quick call, so she pops out and she calls Kate Lethbridge Stewart. Yeah, that's what I'm saying as well, uafomega. Is this his first girlfriend? The guy's a Wally, right? And a fucking incel. Well, this is the thing. You see, well, you'll find out in a little while. But yeah, I despise this guy, and yeah, it's actually intentional that he's so annoying. But we'll get to that. So anyway, she calls Kate and asks why the lights are going out. She says, oh, you know, don't feel bad. You can call me anytime. And then along comes Soldier Boy with a cup of tea for her. And she looks at him like, you know, I'm going to ride you later, mate. Ha, 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 ha. Even though she looks about 40 years older than him. Anyway, whatever. I guess different strokes for different folks. 2 consenting adults, don't give a shit. Whatever. Adults, I mean. So anyway, she says if you're worried, I can have a team there in 30 minutes. The Shriek is still locked away. There shouldn't be another one. It should be impossible for any more to have appeared the same way. It was a freak accident. La-di-da-di-da. They start talking about the fact that Millie Gibson, Ruby Sunday, effectively has PTSD from her time with the Doctor, battling gods, watching all life in the universe get blinked out of existence. One thing that they actually do right, which they never really do in this show anymore, is address the fact that people would probably have PTSD after traveling with the Doctor. So there's that. But whatever. So the lights continue to go out. She's looking a bit worried, a bit nervous. She looks inside the thing, and there for sure is the shriek. So it's definitely not loose. So it must be another one, eh? Ho, 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 there we go. So anyway, and she's wooden as fuck in the line delivery, by the way. I used to like her as a character, but I'm getting really tired of her now. Anyway, she comes back, and he's like, "Oh, is everything okay?" And she's like, "No, actually, I've got PTSD, and I think I'm in shock. I fought gods. Literally, I fought actual gods. Ha 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 ha. I was eaten by a double bass and kidnapped by goblins. I dangled on a rope ladder over London. You know, all this crazy shit that happened to her." And then he tries to reassure her, but pretty much as soon as that happens, the lights go out again. It seems that the electrician's gone to have a look. You know, his mate Sparky's gone to have a look. And your boy, whatever his name fucking was, Conrad, gets up to go and see what's going on and see where his mate is, having a look at the electricity. And he says, "Oh, he's not here. He's not here." And then this old woman comes in and says, "Oh, no, my dog." Actually, this is never really explained, but whatever. She says, "My dog got a nasty bite from some horrible creature from hell," or whatever. They hear it roaring outside. The lights are still going out. Everyone's petrified. He tells her he never took the antidote. Why didn't you take the antidote, buddy? That's a bit of a red flag, isn't it? He says, "I'm so sorry, I didn't take the antidote." So she tells him he's got to stay here, and she's going to go and have a look. She starts telling everybody what to do, by the way. Just sort of telling everyone, stay inside, stay calm. I think I've missed it already, but some bloke basically says to her, "Who the hell put you in charge?" And there's a moment where she turns around to this guy and says, "All right then, big man, go outside, get some fresh air, see what happens." And a lot of people I can see would go, "Well, that's a bit girl bossy," but actually, no, I didn't find it that way. I didn't find anything she did in this episode to be like that at all, because she doesn't exactly like stand on his balls and say, "You will listen to every damn thing I have to say." She's like, you know, whatever. Just, if you don't want to listen to me, go die. Fair enough. In any case, she goes outside. She decides that she's going to go on her own and see if she can cope with something like this. She's completely petrified. Okay, and this is where I say, like, she was good in this episode. It was a solid performance. She's absolutely fucking terrified. She's breathing. And oh, actually, look, we can see a little bit of cleavage there for once. Why, my God, look at that. Well, wonders never cease. But so she hears a roar. She's grabbing the wall. She's hiding from it. She's terrified. Suddenly, something sneaks up behind her. It turns out it's him. He's brought a cricket bat, like Shaun of the Dead or something, and he's going to help her, and she's pissed at him because she told him to stay inside because he's the fucking target. But he's like, no. I want to be like the doctor. I want to be like the doctor. As a COVID vaccine allegory. Yes, I know. He didn't take the vaccine because maybe he doesn't believe in things like that. Well, we'll see. So anyway, he continues to follow her. She agrees to let him come. They find the Sparky guy. He wasn't in the electric room. He was somewhere else. They find his hat and they find his shoes, and it's all absolutely terrifying when suddenly the thing leaps up on the top of a car and goes at them, and it's all very, very stupid and kind of tacky. And frankly, at this point, I thought, well, the rom-com's been cringe, but hey, at least now we're going to get Monster of the Week, you know, and it's not going to be too bad, although those costumes look kind of ridiculous. But anyway, it doesn't really matter because she's obviously contacted Kate again. Unit rocks up. They're all here. There's a helicopter. They've burst onto the scene. And now they're feeling a bit more confident. The rest of the friends have shown up to help them. And Kate is here along with this guy as well, who you're not supposed to really be paying attention to, but you kind of are as well because you've never seen him before. Anyway, it's all going to make sense in a minute. I mean, well, I say make sense. To be fair, what I actually mean is it's the beginning of it making no sense. Okay, and I'll get to that. Just got to wait a little longer for the penny to drop, okay? Soldier Boy's here. He's got a gun trained on the thing. They're saying, don't shoot it. We need it alive to find out how it got here. When suddenly there are two of them, by the way, decide to stand upright. They pull off the masks to reveal that they are, in fact, just two guys. I think maybe even one of them's the electrician guy, but I never got a good look at him, so I couldn't possibly tell you, really. So, oh, ha, 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 ha. We got you. It was all a prank. And just as you are starting to piece together in your head the length that they would have had to actually go to have pulled this off with the flickering lights and all the other crazy stuff like that. Like, did one of them bite that woman's dog or something? Like, what the hell? You know, where'd they get these costumes? What the hell is going on? They look at your mate here. He looks a bit confused. And then just, you know, you realize what's going to happen. Of course, he's part of it. He's the leader, in fact. And it's all this thing he calls themselves Think Tank. Ha ha! It's all been a ruse. That's right. I was undercover the whole time. I'm actually a total wanker. And obviously a conspiracy theorist. I'm so, you know, he's an allegory, isn't he? He's anybody who does what I do, what other more politically driven channels do, like Tim Pool or anyone like that, or anyone who ever entertains the idea that the top-down authoritative structure of this government of the world that's been slowly encroaching into our freedoms and dominating everybody with rules about what you can say and who you can say it to and crap about race and sex and transgenderism and all that fucking bullshit is, you know, if you've ever questioned any of that, or indeed the jab or the masks or pretty much anything, you're this guy. Except that in their actual practice with this sort of massive gotchaing behavior and laughing and being really just as fucking obnoxious as possible, in actual practice they're behaving more like left-wing protesters that operate on university campuses and, like, you know, the kinds of bastards who run up to works of ancient art and throw paint on them and glue themselves to the roads and stuff like that. So congratulations, we are now all being gotcha'd, including UNIT, and the mission, in fact, of all of this is to expose the lies of UNIT. And he is just unbelievably nasty to Ruby Sunday. He goes out with your insecurity and your vanity. I've had to put up with that for weeks to get this gotcha. Like, it's like the worst thing that could happen to you if you think you're falling for someone. It's really fucking mean-spirited and awful. But the worst part of all of it is that this is all an attempt to effectively, basically out UNIT. All his friends are in on it. They've all got their phones going. They're all recording. They're all, like, pointing their cameras and going, haha, we're going to expose the fucking lies of UNIT. They've all been lying to us for all this time. There's no aliens. It's all a conspiracy. We want to know. Oh, apparently he applied for a job at UNIT at one point and got rejected. So there's that. The only monsters out here are UNIT. You know, you guys, you are lying to the people. See, hashtag demand the truth, hashtag UNIT lies, hashtag no more monsters, and all this rubbish. And I'm sorry, but at this point, I have to bring it back to what I said at the start of this. Russell T. Davis, whether he wrote this episode or not, is responsible for the continuation of the lore of this diegesis, right? This is the guy who gave us Aliens of London. This is the guy who had a spaceship crash into Big Ben. This is a guy who had the fucking Sycorax invasion, people standing on rooftops. This guy even mentions the Sycorax in one of these, like, wasn't that a load of bollocks? It's like, buddy, you have witnessed, if you've been alive since 2007, at least a couple of mass extinction events that have been undone. Maybe you'll remember one of them, maybe you won't remember another, but you are definitely going to remember the Battle of Canary Wharf, the Cybermen, the Daleks, get them all getting vortexed away into Canary Wharf. You're going to remember when the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom assassinated the President of the United States on board the Valiant with a laser screwdriver. You're going to remember him saying, oh, I've been contacted by the Toclophane, which of course we know is bullshit, but at the same time was never disproven to the public ever. We've had multiple times in this fucking universe where weird, crazy shit has happened in full view of the public. And we're supposed to believe that the people of Earth are just they don't believe it anymore? They just don't believe that they were dusted 6 months earlier by, well, they never saw what, but they, you watched your whole family turn to ash and dust and then miraculously got brought back and you have no idea why. And this happened to every being in the entire universe. So everyone died. You died and you came back and you forgot that? You don't believe in it? Buddy, where the fuck are you? Where's your brain? I mean, that's just a handful of the various things that have happened. We've also got in more recent memory the Toy Maker, that signal shit, the flux, of course, everything that happened in Torchwood, Children of Earth, everything. It's all happened in front of the public. Everything. So, I mean, they were going to nuke Downing Street. Like this shit is real. How could you believe this shit isn't real? It's maddening. People have died. It's insanity. Like the death toll on the Stolen Earth and Journey's End would have been in the hundreds at least. Harriet Jones was dead. People were being rounded up by Daleks. That wasn't undone. That wasn't unmade. That didn't get rewound like the year that never was. And everything else that's happened since then. What about the bus that mysteriously vanished to another planet and then made it back? What about all that? All these weird things that keep happening. There's just so many. What about the fact that 1 week before this kid met the Doctor, the fucking Rachnos happened and was shot down? Or was it shot down by Torchwood? Or was it... No, it burned up from within, right? The Rachnos happened. Like, this kid saw that. The giant Christmas star. It was international news. Has RTD not watched his own shit for that long that he thinks he started with a blank slate? This nonsense. It's absolute bollocks. So this guy's entire plot line from this point to the end of the episode has no basis for happening whatsoever. Don't try to insult my intelligence by telling me the 74,000 people worldwide would trust this guy that there's no danger. How many people lost relatives to the Daleks? How many people got fucking converted into Cybermen? It's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Batshit crazy. It's not like these things are rare. They all seem to happen once a year. at least several times a year while Doctor Who's been back on TV. The canon of this universe is that, planetary or human extinction level events are threatened on an almost constant basis. Madness. But anyway, there you go. Now, I know a lot of the things that have happened, particularly in the Moffat era, were off in different places or in different eras, in different times, far from the public's eye. But RTD had a major habit, like almost a kink, for revealing the existence of aliens to the general population of Earth. And now we're supposed to believe this? Utter bollocks. So anyway, he's going on about spending our money. Of course, again, while he's behaving in practice like a leftist, he's clearly right-wing because he doesn't trust the authorities. He doesn't trust the science. So it's just having a go at any of us who have ever rejected this crap. And as a pure-blood, unvaxxed person, I'd just like to tell you, RTD, jog on, buddy. You don't scare me. But there you go. So, the next few scenes are them trying to reason with him. He ends up, I think, in prison. It makes the news. She's heartbroken, of course. They call him cowards and tell him, go on, arrest us, arrest us. They haul him off to prison. They say fascism on the streets of Britain. I don't think so. I don't think so, buddy. So now UNIT are fascists, which of course is very 2025 left-wing messaging. We can see all of that, of course. Then it's the same woman as well. I think she was reading the news in a previous series of RTDs. It's international shit. Apparently, people are taking their masks off. I mean, who's next? Jonathan Ross. Apparently, this guy also watches Albion TV, which is a connection to the Albion Party that is the party of that fake... Basically, that fake Prime Minister story that they did about a guy who basically takes the UK nuclear. And so basically, this guy here is a pathetic and extremely wide mischaracterization of anyone who questioned COVID and that narrative, MAGA, anyone who questions the official story, you know, anyone who knows that when the authorities are saying something is misinformation, by and large it turns out to be true. And for this episode to come out, you know, some months after Doge has gutted all these fucking American departments that were wasting money on completely pointless crap, it's just nonsense. So there you go. So the bad guy once again is us, effectively. People who look for their own, with their own senses for the truth rather than just accepting the narrative. So there you go. But of course, they've made him just the most unlikable bastard they possibly can. He's on the one show getting interviewed and he's just this deeply malevolent fucking asshole all the way through the episode. So... they're trying to say that he should, people at UNIT should be arrested. He's got a TikTok and etc., which is funny because, again, this is not how people like us operate, okay? We don't sit here going, do not believe these people, do not. Maybe Alex Jones does, but he's probably the only one. The rest of us just go, do you really believe that? Do you really think, does this make sense? We just ask questions. But RTD sees it as a threat. Oh, it's a threat. And yet, you know, all these people are now like threatening UNIT. All these apparent rioters, all these right-wing rioters, apparently, which we've never seen because whenever there is actually a riot, it's the left. But there you go anyway. If you didn't know what RTD's politics are, then you know now. There's UNIT spies, ha ha ha, yay! And UNIT are actually on the back foot because there are people thinking of defunding them now. So somehow this one dick has managed to influence this many people that UNIT might get disbanded. Completely fucking insane. And Ruby's there, but she's barely relevant for the rest of the episode at this point. She was just his way in. He says he's been craving attention his whole life. He says his mum died. Turns out, actually, this is really bizarre, and I'm not really sure why this line is in here. But it turns out that his mother is not in fact dead, but just abandoned him and went to live in the south of France. I don't know how to interpret that. Great job, Mum. You're a shithead and your son has become a complete bastard. And a gross mixed characterization of people like me, I suppose. Citizen journalist, if you like. I don't like to call myself a journalist, as we just went over on SNH. More of a commentator. But, there we go. So, yeah, basically, UNIT is getting cancelled. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Neely B. Oh, and apparently he's also a tax dodger, which cements that he's right-wing, of course, because he doesn't want big tax. Oh, well, yeah, nobody does. It's literally hilarious that this has happened in the same week that the Labour and the leftist Tory party got totally fucking felted by by the Reform Party. Hilarious. I mean, it's so out of touch. It's unreal. It's abundantly clear to me, as someone who hasn't even lived in the UK for 8 years, nearly, coming up later this week, actually, it will be 8 years, that the country is crying out against the kinds of people that are for bigger and bigger taxes and praise the NHS, even if you can't get a doctor's appointment. Fucking nonsense. But anyway, there you go. So we're going to just skip through a lot of this because there's a lot of just pointless talking and bollocks. They're all hanging out a unit. And then it turns out that guy, the one guy who works there, obviously he's a plant. He works for Think Tank. He works for Conrad, the fucking, you know what word I can't say. And yeah, Vote Reform UK. Nigel Farage may not be the Donald Trump you're looking for, but the party is filled with very good actors. So there you go. Yeah, they lost their minds after Brexit. Exactly. America lost their mind after Trump too, except that they got it back. The UK has rolled over and allowed themselves to be conquered. So this guy is up to no good. He's sneaking around in the back. They're all trying to make sure that they're safe and locked down. But it's not going to work because this guy tasers one of their soldiers, whose armor really should be able to take that. If you think to yourself for a second that these people are supposed to be able to fight Daleks, potentially, or Cybermen. These are the Unified Intelligence Task Force soldiers. And a taser can take them out. Okay. I mean, nothing makes sense in this piece of shit anyway, so whatever. We can carry on then. We can carry on. So obviously this guy's up to no good. He opens the door and in comes Conrad, who has decided now to go on a apparent one-man literal incursion into unit, which is surely one of the dumbest things you could possibly do. Anyway, it's all going swimmingly for him, although he has a bit of a disagreement with the guy, because the guy takes his gun. Oh no, he takes the gun. That's right, he takes the gun. And the guy doesn't want him to have a gun, because apparently he's not completely right-wing. So they have a fight about the gun, and it seems that Conrad shoots this guy dead. Okay, he was a means to an end anyway. So they discover that guy was in fact, he had the subscription to Albion TV. That's right. So Albion TV are right-wing and they're bad, basically. If you're center-right in this universe now, you're an enemy of everything. Which is another reason why this episode is one of the worst ever, because it's anyone now. It's not just gamers perceived to be incels. It's not just people who put hashtag RIP Doctor Who. It's anyone at all who doesn't believe that masks worked, which we know that they don't. They never did, and now they have to have that on the box. Does not prevent micro doses of contagion. You know, because it was proven that they never worked. In fact, they knew they didn't work. We know that Fauci knew they didn't work. It's also people who didn't want to get an experimental substance inserted into their bodies with their job held hostage. I mean, it's not hard to see that this stuff all happened. Okay, it's as clear as the existence of aliens would be to the population of the Doctor Who universe. It's fucking insanity. There has not been a pro-Hamas protest episode yet, no, but next week we're going to Nigeria. Anyway, we're moving on, and I think they're aware at some point that he's there. He's in the elevator, he's got a rifle, he's coming in, he wants to threaten them all, and he's got this shit-eating grin on his face. the entire time. He's like, you guys are liars. I'm gonna expose you. Careful, I've got a camera mounted to me. This is leftist behavior, by the way. Having hidden cameras and like fucking recording everything to try and expose the right. That's how they behave. It's not the other way. The only person who does stuff like this would be James O'Keefe of formerly Project Veritas and now the O'Keefe Media Group, or OMG for short, who has exposed that Pfizer were involved in the manifestation of that little coof thing, and also were participating in the gain of function research and made huge profits off it by preparing said experimental substance ahead of time. All of this shit has been proven. Okay? So I don't usually talk about all these subjects, so it's kind of interesting that I get to for once, but we have an episode to finish and I have to get on and get out because I've got a busy day ahead of me. But anyway, we continue. He calls them traitors. He says he doesn't take orders from traitors. They tell him put the gun down, stop this shit. He points the gun at Ruby. She tells him off. She talks about the job interview she had and Kate's note. The one note that she left on this guy was don't trust him. She says that they're keeping people safe, which of course they are. So this, you see, you're supposed to be annoyed at this guy because we like UNIT, we're on UNIT's side, but UNIT apparently hate us. But this guy is such a prick. I really can't tolerate him. He is such an obnoxious bastard. Like, he really is. He's got this look on his face the whole time. He insults Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. She goes ape shit when he says that. Says, confess. Confess! Confess! Then we get a thing about how the doctor's not there. He's behaving like a Marxist lunatic. Exactly, MagesGuild. Not a conservative. A reasonable person. In any way, shape or form. Thank you, B-Man. Yes, that is my Steam friend code. I have a lot in my wish list if you are interested. A lot of discounted games there at the moment. Anyway... so Gat was not there. Obviously, the doctor's not been in the episode at all. Belinda Chandra's only in one scene, barely with any lines at the beginning, so she's not in this episode effectively for me. And then she says, I'm glad the doctor's not here because he would have stopped me. And we enter sort of Act 3, I guess, at this point now, which is when Kate decides to do the dumbest thing. Well, it's not dumb, but it sure as fuck ain't the behavior of a good person. She's going to release... the Shriek, the actual Shriek that tagged him before, and he never took the antidote. So it will still, like a year later or whatever it was, or some weeks later, still be on the hunt for him. So she's going to release him, and now he's scared. Now immediately his shit-eating grin disappears, and he's like, wait, what's that? What's in there? Oh, what's that? It's like he's completely fucking changed his tune immediately. And she's reveling in it, Kate. So that's why I refer to Act 3 as Kate turns heel. Because apparently she is now ready to see this guy's death. Right? Look at this shit. She's taunting him. Okay? I'm pretty sure you are not of sound mind to be in this position of authority if you are willing to sentence a man to death by being torn apart. So don't get me wrong. Yes, MagesGuild, you're right. He is meant to misrepresent people like me and you, and in fact he acts more like Hassan Piker. Correct. So there you go. The door opens and the Shriek is out. How committed are you to believing that this thing isn't real? For the next few minutes, it's like scuttering around in the vents. Everyone's bracing for an all-out attack. He's stumbling through the corridors himself, well, the wider area of the room, I suppose, as this thing is stalking him in the air vents. Finally, it prepares itself. He screams for help. And they do nothing. So the thing literally is really, at this point, completely just trying to mortify this guy as much as actually humanly possible. It is quite literally bearing down on him, about to scream, and then he confesses that he lied about everything. Please make it stop, please, please. So who exactly is the bad guy here? Because he's saying he lied, but he genuinely believed that he didn't lie. So he's now been forced to give a false confession under extreme duress. Unit are now willing to torture and psychologically terrify a person. I understand he's a threat to their existence and they are the preventative measure against the actual threats to our actual existence, but they should have just, you know, shot him in the leg and put him in handcuffs and then showed the fucking thing to him. I don't know. Maybe he just never would have been convinced. Because the truth is, it doesn't really matter. Because just as they're going to do this, Ruby pops over and decides that she's going to taser the fucking thing. Which apparently is all it takes to knock one of these out. They're not really that threatening, are they? They go after their target and only their target. So it wasn't interested in anyone else in the room, leaving it extremely defenseless against anyone else. Terrible villain. Terrible monster. Except, of course, he's the villain. We're the villain. People who doubt the authorities and their constant lies are the villain. So there you go. Anyway, so she saves him. Apparently, there's a joke line later about someone saying, because it was all live on the internet, of course, and someone's like, who's the hot taser girl? So, to be fair, hashtag hot taser girl. I mean, she is hot, but she's dressed like a librarian. Anyway, so he now stands up, having had his life saved by Ruby, after being unbearably shitty to her, and almost bringing down Unit somehow. And he smiles again in a second. I can't play it all exactly, but you got to see this shit, because he literally grins, laughs, and says, well, at least your special effects are improving. So he's learned literally nothing. But then, actually, he does get what is coming to him. Because here comes the Shriek to rip off his arm. And we cut to black immediately after that. So everything pretty much goes back to normal. Conrad's going to survive. He's in prison. She agrees that she's going to leave and go away from everyone. But we know she's in another episode this series, I believe. So here he is. He's in jail. His arm's been reattached. When suddenly the TARDIS manifests around him. And now we're in what I call the epilogue, where Shooty goes on this huge, nasty rant at him, which I can completely understand, by the way. He's pissed off. I can see that. Except it's Gatwa, so it doesn't really fall right. It doesn't work. It doesn't seem right coming out of his face. He says, you got to be invited into the TARDIS. You got to be special, and you're special for all the wrong reasons. See, I'm fighting a battle on behalf of everyday people who just want to get through their day and feel safe and warm and fed. Once again, no, you're not. You're on the side that apparently is pushing this narrative, and yet, except it's all true. So again, we're apparently not these people, these normal people. He goes, along comes this noise, the right wing. He goes, along comes this noise, relentless noise. He goes, cowards like you, weaponizing lies, taking people's insecure and fear and making it their currency. By the way, this 100% is Gatwa talking to us. about how we've rejected him, how it doesn't make sense, how having it be a woman doctor and various other things like that. You know, so it's once again, you are exhausting, he says. You stamp on the truth because the only strategy you have is to wear us down. It's the opposite, mate. You fucking imbecile. You're part of the machine. He says, the thing is, Conrad, something else, I can't remember. I don't know what he fucking says. He says, are you here to save my soul, doctor? Have you met Belinda Chandra yet? And he's like, who? Because no, he hasn't yet. So this is still before he's met Belinda. He goes, boiling in anger and poison. He curses him, basically, to die in a prison cell at age 49. Alone and unloved and forgotten. That is how Gatwa and RTD feel about us. Pathetic, isn't it? Pathetic. So far, we are 3 out of 4 on attacking the fans. He says, I don't accept your reality, Doctor. Which is funny because, of course, we know what the last episode of the series is. It's this reality war thing. So, obviously, he's going to leave. This is RTD talking to us. Okay, Gatwa doesn't care. Fine. It's RTD talking to us. Whatever. Interpret it how you will. Anyway, put me back in my prison and get off my world, he says to the doctor. So he does. Leaves him in prison. When suddenly who should appear but the villain, of course. It's the old woman. It's Mrs. Flood, who says it's your lucky day because I'm your jailer and she's got the keys to his cell. So she's going to let him out. Yeah, no, the doctor would never do something like that. Never. Ever. It's unbearably bad, this episode. Yeah, you're right, MagesGuild. Now that I've looked through it again, fucking terrible. One of the worst ever. Probably the worst. It's insulting to an entirely new level. Completely unbearable, really. Just fucking obnoxious. Absolutely ghastly. Terrible fucking... I mean, a terrible pastiche of his political and ideological enemies, portrayed as the worst kind of scum that just genuinely doesn't exist. Genuinely doesn't exist. If you actually take a look at people on the center right who value their liberty and their freedom and freedom of speech and, you know, everything like that, we're really quite a nice bunch. Friendly, like to laugh, you know, like to laugh properly. And they portray us as this guy, this spiteful, snarky, smiling, grinning bastard who would go to such lengths to, you know, get inside unit and try and tear them down from the inside and call them a bunch of liars. Which doesn't even make fucking sense because, again, I might as well say it again, the fucking entire point of the story is that he doesn't believe, and that lots of people don't believe, all of the things that have happened in the Doctor Who universe since RTD's first run. Every single major disaster and public event, blown up building and dead body, they didn't happen. It's all just a flimsy pretense to take your tax money. So it's so muddy, the messaging, because we know from reality that the opposite of this reality is true. And then it's portrayed with the wrong kind of behavior as well, because even the right-wing people, even the most right-wing people, do not behave like that guy did. So, unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's and then we get next week's episode, which is literally Africa. We're going to Nigeria. MagesGuild says, please super chat or superstition the show. Super sticker, the show needs you. Thank you. Thank you for hyping the show. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, if you'd like to, you can go ahead. But yeah, basically that guy is supposed to be Tommy Robinson. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Fair point. And in the next episode, we're in Africa, except that we're also going to be getting giant robot spider. Which I do not like. Do not like spiders, me. But whatever. I don't really understand what we're supposed to be looking at here. It looks mechanical, so okay. Whatever. Whatever you say, buddy. So there you go. That was Lucky Day. That was Lucky Day. And it was a piece of unbridled shit. Absolute shit. Fucking unreal. How it fails on every level. The story fails on every single level. From the insulting angle of it, and by the way, yeah, you don't have to be right wing, by the way. It's just that that's what they call us. I'm like center right-ish libertarian more than pretty much anything else. But not to the point of anarchy, you know what I mean? But leave me alone. Let me own property and don't tax me too much, basically. Leave me alone, let me say whatever the fuck I like. But there you go. So, apparently we're in Nigeria next week. And it looks totally cringe. Totally cringe. But this one, I don't know. This one was another level. This one was insulting to your intelligence. Insulting to your intelligence if you're a free thinker. Or if you're a Doctor Who fan, a lapsed Doctor Who fan. Every level, this was just a one whole fucking episode long insult. From the cringe at the beginning, to the obnoxiousness of the middle, to the total nonsense of the ending with Kate Stewart suddenly becoming fucking evil and malevolent. And, there you go. And finally, the epilogue where it's just RTD shitting on the fans again. And there you go. Fucking terrible. Unbelievably bad piece of TV. Because, yeah, Millie was alright. So I suppose most I could possibly give this one would be, I don't know, a 2 or a 3. Generally, I go with 1 because it was actually made. 2 because it was actually successfully broadcast. 3 is usually did not drive me insane. But this one did drive me insane. Brandon, the anime guy, member for 1 month, and thank you for that, says, yo, Will, good to see you this midnight hour. Yeah, thank you. Well, for me, it's 20 past 2 in the afternoon. I live in Asia. But, which I would recommend to anyone who doesn't want to stick around in the UK and get felted even further. But there you go. Yeah, I'm completely insulted by this. It's an entire episode dedicated to trying to make RTD's political and ideological opponents look like malevolent, evil, conspiratorial con men. So screw that. 7:20 in the morning in the UK. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yep. It's I'm 8 or 7 hours ahead of the UK at the moment, I think. Or is it 8? No, 7. And 12 ahead of East Coast America. So there we go. And it's trash. It's insulting trash. The show is utterly dead. This is, I know you're doing negative numbers, but I have rules that I've established for grading things. So this gets a 2. A 2 out of 10. Just piss. Piss designed to piss you off. And you succeeded. Congratulations, RTD. You didn't annoy me with your pathetic incel line in the first episode. You didn't annoy me with your unbelievable cope over hashtag RIP Doctor Who. But you've insulted people I respect now, and that pisses me off a bit. So there you go. Congratulations, RTD. Go fuck yourself in hell. And that's it. The end of Doctor Who, guys. I mean, this show cannot possibly limp on any further like this. There is no point to it anymore. It doesn't serve a purpose beyond insulting its own audience anymore. It might as well just end because there's nothing left to watch. That's what I think. Now, as many of you will know, in the next 6.5 hours, I will be back again with WoTF Cares with Ryan, John, and some others. I think Grant is joining us today, which will be nice. I like working with Grant. I'll see if I can get Goldie, Price of Reason, or anyone else as well. That'll be great. Invites out to anybody who's been on the panel before for that. And I will be discussing this with them. We're all really pissed off about this episode. I know that Burnjaw is not happy at all. He's furious. Zanzoltan for 4 months membership at the Rage Beta level. Thank you very much. Says, thank you, Will, for reviewing the show. If it weren't for you, I would not even see it. Hail, and thank you for seeing it so we don't have to. It remains my pleasure. Now, I am happy that I get to do this for you guys. Because it's eye-opening for me as well, just to see fuck how bad it really is, and then try to articulate it to you. And then actually sometimes I even head over to Facebook and challenge them on the Doctor Who page there as well. And they'll say, what the fuck are you doing here, blah blah blah, why don't you, why do you even subscribe to Disney Plus? I'm like, because I live in a country where it costs $3 a month or $5 a month or something like that. And not only do I financially make that back, easily for my trouble, but I also prevent potentially thousands of people from paying Disney for this crap, which is something I really enjoy. But there you go. That's it then, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to MagesGuild and everybody who's gifted the membership chats as well. We did hit the goal, although it's a holdover goal from like 2 days ago because my computer died and I had to completely reinstall Windows, which is why this review was so late. So I appreciate you guys for all of that. I will be wrapping things up now. Got to take my family out shopping and have a bit of a nice day out. It's a very sunny day today. So I'm going to do that. Go touch some grass, Mr. Gatwa. I'll leave you with the outro. And I'll see you in 6 hours for WoTF Cares. Till then, take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.